So, hey Ruchi.
Hi, Fabrice.
Yeah, I hope you are doing great.
Absolutely. How about you?
Yeah, I'm excellent. I'm excellent.
Great.
Happy to have you there today. And I think we are going to talk about some interesting topic. And before I just start, today as developer, we are working on different kind of projects. Sometimes you got your own idea and you want to build a project such as an app, website, and you think I think like several dev have already had the idea of launching, I don't know, next Facebook or new version of WhatsApp and those different kind of application. So we are going to talk about how we can take our idea to startup level, and this is one of
That's
the
right.
reasons that I really want to make this episode with you. So before we just start, I will let you introduce yourself so you can talk a little bit about you. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Fabrice, for having me on your podcast. Thank you for
Welcome.
the collaboration. Hi, everyone. My name is Ruchi Dhar, and I am a startup expert with over 6 years of experience in startups in all stages, including unicorns and Shark Tank funded startups. I'm founder of Voipains, startup Voipains, and co-founder of Find My AI. I'm sorry. I my expertise is marketing and operations with leadership and team handling experience of about 30 employees. I'm also a community builder, event organizer, event speaker, and have handled developer relations and investor relations.
Mm.
So that's a brief background about myself. And yes, today we are going to talk about and learn how to basically transform your idea into a startup level.
Yeah.
So from seed to a tree.
Mm. That's right. So, if I ask you, if I may ask, of course, like, how would you define, startup, basically?
Okay,
Mm.
startup. So a startup is basically a seed, you would say, and it has various journeys. Um, the only difference between a startup and a normal company is the speed.
Okay.
Startup demands speed, and you cannot take things lightly because anytime a competitor can come and just goes ahead of you.
Mm.
So it's basically a journey from seed to a tree. And during that journey, it's just that you have to be very quick. You have to know the market condition, intelligence, and there are a lot of factors that come into play in a startup. Whereas in a well-established company, you don't really care about so many things because you have that resources and ample business and market intelligence and time of being in a market.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, like I was saying before, when you want to create, I can say, your own company or launch your own product, you are going to have first of all an idea, and you are going to think about the idea before try to, I can say, steal code, for example, or just make some information in order to build your own app. So, what place does the idea take in the accomplishment of the project?
Well, an idea is a fundamental to the success of a startup,
Mm.
and it is basically a foundation of a startup. So it will help you to identify the problem that your product or service is solving,
Okay.
and the need that you are meeting in the market. So without the clear understanding of the problem, it's difficult to create a solution that resonates with the customers.
Mm.
The idea basically represents your USP, the market, demand, the potential.
Mm.
And an idea is the one that motivates your team and brings in passion in the team members, especially at the times of setbacks and lows in the journey. And definitely, idea is one of the strongest point that attracts the investors and other stakeholders, including your partners and other collaborators. So yeah, idea is very important and crucial. But
Mm.
apart from that, not just the idea, it's the execution that's also equally important
Yeah,
apart from the idea.
yeah. Because sometimes I think you can have the like an idea, but if the execution take like a lot of time, we are going to struggle a bit. So not easy at all. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in your, I can say in the market in general, there are different kind of apps or different kind of service people are offer. So in your opinion, like what are the promising projects today? Or I think you are like you were saying in the introduction, you are consultant for several company startup, and do all ideas make for like good startup, or maybe there are some that stand out. So yes, what are the promising project, or maybe if someone wants to build some kind of tools or app or launch his idea. Yeah.
Very interesting question because a promising project in general is a one that taps into an unmet market need or demand and has a consumer base to service, so that it can acquire customers and grow in revenue. In terms of idea, definitely technology based startups are doing really good these days, because the world is shifting towards digitalization, and every company has this digitalization product, project into it. So the especially with the AI, ML, and what is happening around us, the world is changing. The AI, ML is like everywhere in healthcare, in finance, in marketing, in e-commerce, in logistics, even in clean energy, sustainability, and climate change. There are startups which are helping to, which are using AI/ML to reduce the carbon footprints, or help in agri-tech to increase the agricultural yield and farming practices, and also helping in cleaning the waste materials. So there are some interesting ideas going around on technology. Apart from that, definitely remote work collaboration tools are also very in demand these days.
Mm,
And in terms of health, not just diagnostic and prescription wise, or like a robot nurse wise, but personalized health and wellness platforms and mental health platforms are doing good as well. And if I talk about in terms of marketing, then definitely a customer is looking for instant gratification, but it's not possible in all the projects. So definitely they want either entertainment or some value out of it, maybe a UI UX or simple journey, or an artificial intelligence, or AR VR, those kinds of technology. So it's actually a mix of a lot of stuff right now that's doing great.
yeah. Okay. Okay. I see. So is it like necessary, for example, when you are, because like you were just saying, there is a lot of field, if I can say that, where you can launch your own app, or if you are working on the product. So is it necessary to carry out a project study, like look at what the market offer before launching your idea, or is it better to just say, oh, I got an idea, let's just, I don't know, work on it, build it, and I will say if the market want to, yeah, want to promote my idea basically.
Well, it's a very interesting question. For a first timer founder, generally people say that just just do it. And then generally people say that one or two startups will fail, the third or the fourth one will work.
Mm,
But the recipe is that you have to do a market study before,
mm,
launching anything, because if there is no market surrounding the product or service, then it's a wastage of all the resources and effort that you are taking. And hence you need to understand the market demand, the customer segment, their needs. You have to assess the competition. Your business idea needs to be validated. You can use your POCs and MVPs in the market to validate if your idea will work. And if things are not going your way, it also gives you a opportunity to pivot yourself and refine your business strategy in a way you can, change your strategy if you start wrong also, because that's quite normal in a startup. You have to change and pivot at some point of time, and that comes with experience. size, what is the total addressable market, what is the market
Yeah.
capitalization or gain
Can
till
you
now, customers acquired.
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. I think I just lost you 2 minutes ago or 1 minute
Oh,
ago. Yeah. Sorry.
okay. So maybe which point did you, shall I start again with
Uh.
the risk or the investor?
Yes. I think when you were talking about the like the importance of before launching your MVP, for example, you need to check the market. Yeah. So at that point, yeah.
Yeah, so you need to check the market demand, the market size, the customer need, the target audience, assess the competition in the market, validate your business ideas, and which will help you to mitigate risk. And the most important point is that when you go to an investor,
Mm,
the investor will ask these questions as to what is the market size, what is the total addressable market, how many customers have you acquired, what is the future plan. So all these metrics will only come when you do a market analysis.
mm,
So it without this, the no investor would actually pool in the money, and the partners, the with whom you are partnering and the team members you're hiring will also come and have more confidence if you have this market study.
mm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So, do you think like we can say that it is mandatory, or I can say it is just more important and not mandatory? Like you can start with an idea and also check at the same time the market offer, or you should check the market offer before start your product.
Um, Definitely, you should definitely mandatorily do a hygiene study. The
Okay.
basic three four metrics: what is
Mm.
the market size, addressable market, and what is the potential you have to cap, because you cannot capitalize the entire market.
Yes.
So you have to think. So these three four definitely it's mandatory, and
Okay.
rest of the study you can do during the course of the time.
Okay, okay, yeah, okay. You were just talking about the MVP, but I think it will be important. Maybe those kind of terms. A lot of people say sometimes the bug, the MVP, the
Yeah.
version, the first version, like V1. So, what is the difference between those terms, or when you are working on your idea or your product? Yeah, and maybe what duration you should or what time you should spend on the build of your bug or MVP or your first version for yeah.
Okay, so these terms are basically used in the startup and product development processes and represent different stages of your product development and iteration before launch. So, POC is generally a proof of concept, and it's basically a demonstration or a prototype which is designed to verify the feasibility of a concept or of idea, and it's a small scale version of the product to test whether the core idea is technically achievable or not. So it's basically answering the question, can this be done? So to validate the technological or conceptual feasibility. And often it's rough, incomplete, and not suitable for production use. So you don't need to spend much time in a POC. You can have a minimum version of it. It's generally rough and incomplete. MVP, which is a minimum viable product, is a step further than the POC. And it's the simplest version of a product that allows you to gather the maximum amount of validated learning and feedback from the customers with the least effort. So it will have the minimum essential features, not a polished product, which is required to solve the core problem and deliver value to the user.
Mm,
And basically it helps you to validate if the product is solving a real problem for its intended users or not. So there are two things: is it solving the problem, and is it solving the problem of your customer base or no? So you get to know these two things. So they're typically more refined than POCs, but still prioritize speed and minimalism. So again, not much time is spent in an MVP. I think the more time and biggest time spent is on the versions of the product. So V1 or version one, and then you have more versions V2, V3, V4 of the product, which is the first. V1 is the first complete and market ready version of the product that is released to the users, and it will represent the initial launch of your product after going through multiple iterations and stages in POCs and MVPs, because they will also have stages. When customers will give you feedback, you will have to change it. So MVP and POCs will have stages, but that's quite quick. But in V1, You have to have the product development process, incorporate all the feedback that you've collected in your MVP and POC stages, because it's intended for broader use and it's like the official launch. So, like while POC validates technical feasibility, MVP validates product market fit, V1 is like full first scale version of the product ready for its users. And then you have V2, V3, V4, depending upon the needs of the customer.
Okay, okay, yeah, okay, got it. So actually, we are talking more about the product itself, but when it comes to build a product, if you are a developer, you are working a lot of time alone. If it's just an idea, but in some kind of project, you will need to work with other person in order to scale your product or to just go fast. So,
Yeah.
how important is a team in the product or startup process? For example, is it better to, for example, let me just take this example. I think it will be better. We know that there is different kind of field, like I was saying. For example, health tech. So it is not
Yeah.
something which is very common. So even if you are a developer and you can build the app, you don't have all the vision about how health the person body work. For example, if you want to build a product for pharmacy or doctor, it will depend. So is it better to look for a co-founder directly from the beginning of your idea, or you can just start and say, oh, maybe later I will try to find a co-founder, for example, who have more that not technical aspect because you are already developer, but who have more that product aspect. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll answer it in two parts. The
Okay.
first one being the importance of the team.
Mm,
So, definitely, a startup is everything because of its team. And a team is very important because founders cannot do everything on their own. They need
true.
to delegate.
Mm,
And the team should have that expertise, that skill set. And more than that, they should be culturally fit in the startup. So that shared vision, mission of the startup and the passion that they have, that they're culturally fit, is also very important. So team team not only helps in the execution and the implementation, but they will also help you in having innovative ideas and problem solving, and help you at the time of crisis. Apart from that, I think teams team's track record is also very important to attract investors, because investors definitely are interested to know who are your co-founders and team members when they are trying to pull in money. If I come to the second part of the question, being the co-founder one, I know there are some people who like to work alone, and or they
mm,
want to start alone in the beginning. First, want to build a POC or an MVP,
yeah.
and before launch, they want to go with a co-founder. So, I mean, that's a personal preference. Although I feel that initially you might want to like maintain full control and direction of the startup, but while you're going ahead and scaling up in a startup journey, it's very essential to have a co-founder with a complementary skill as yours. So let's suppose if I'm a marketing person, I'm good in marketing and sales, I can do the CMO part or a CEO part, then I would need a technology co-founder, a CTO.
Mm,
And if
sure.
you are a developer and you are very well aware of the technology thing, you would need a sales or a marketing person as your co-founder. So
Mm,
that kind of balance and compatibility is very important when you're looking for a co-founder. And apart from this, they should be like-minded. Co-founders should share passion for the startup and the
of
mission
course.
that you are doing. And there are various ways to find a co-founder. There are networking events, accelerator programs, and so many things going on these days that even LinkedIn you can just post, and
Yes.
it's quite easy. So I mean, I would say that if you want to, if you are a solo kind of a person, then you may start solo and
Okay.
then hire going forward. But if you really like team around and work together, then definitely you can have a co-founder from the start. It will definitely help you in delegating a lot of tasks, and also moral and emotional support that a co-founder gives you.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah, it is good to have a product, but I think when a lot of time when you are working on your ideal product, you want to earn money, and that is bit normal, you know. So by
Yeah.
saying like earn money, I think about like the business model of your product, basically. So what is first of all like a business model, or what is the good business model? Yeah, if I may ask. Yeah.
Yeah. So, business model is a very complicated and a very huge topic.
Mm,
Although its simple meaning is that companies creating and delivering and capturing value to their intended customer. And if you're providing that value, you are definitely you've nailed the hit. And while there isn't one size fit all formula for a successful business model, there
mm,
are a lot of factors we need to see into, like what is your value proposition, what is your target market, and what are your revenue streams. So like whether you want to sell a product or a service, or you want it subscription based, you want a licensing fees, advertising revenue for a listing platform, or a combination of multiple revenue streams.
mm,
And there are many more business models nowadays, freemium model like Spotify. So you can be creative in your business models as long as it's solving your purpose, as long as your cost structure is not increasing your is not more than your revenue,
mm.
because to be profitable it's important that your expense is lower than your revenue. So all these
Okay.
things, and and also the channels where you're selling, your direct sales, online retail, digital marketing, or it's a B2B model, D2C model, B2B2C,
Mm,
or B2C model. All these things are taken into consideration depending upon what is your product or the service that you are doing. So, like a listing platform would be generating revenue through advertising.
mm,
E-commerce will be generating through the margins that they have in buying and selling. And I mean, so it depends from which industry you are. But the key is, if you focus on the customer relationship management, that is that's industry agnostic. So in my last organization, which was in InsurTech, I was heading the operations and customer experience, and I've seen that just by increasing focus in customer relationship and how we deal with our customers, we were able to increase the customer acquisition by more than double. So definitely, whatever you do, you need to think
mm,
about your customers. And even when we're talking about like Find My AI, it's a listing platform. You can list your tools, you can subscribe to your newsletters. But my startup consultancy, Startup Boy Paints, is a consultancy platform. So it's based on project based, and has a dynamic pricing model. So it's a kind of a dynamic in nature when you talk about which product and service fits into which business model.
mm. Okay. So should we think about the business model before launching the project, or should we just start if you got like an idea and say, okay, I will try to build my project, and maybe later I will think about how I'm going to earn money with that product.
Well, I think I personally feel you should definitely think about the business model before launching, because
Mm,
if you're not earning money out of it, as I said, there's no point wasting time and energy. And now things have become so fast, you cannot waste time. Initially, if 10 years down the line, I mean, 10 years back, people would not think about these things, the market research, business plan, and just would launch.
mm,
And that time things were different. This was working because investment was also coming, and there was a lot of support, and there was a lot of time because there was not too much hurry happening. But things have changed now, especially with the funding winter. You have no time to lose. So I think it's better to launch being well prepared.
mm,
And a clear business model definitely gives you clarity of purpose, why you're doing this, what you're solving, helps you in strategic planning and resource allocations, prioritizing what you want to do and which project you have to prioritize. And again, helps in risk management, mitigates risk. You can understand the industry trends, and of course gain investor and stakeholder confidence. And as I said, if some things don't work, you can always pivot. That's very easy in a startup. You
yeah.
change course of
Mm,
direction,
mm.
change your business model. That's okay.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I
It
think
starts from somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, I think you are right because when you are working on a project, and a lot of time you are going to pivot a lot, because it's a startup. So yeah,
Inevitable.
you are right. Yeah. Currently online there is a lot of, I can say, startup which just making posts sometimes that I have raised funds, or I got an idea, so I launched on some kind of raising fund, and I want to know, like, for example, when you are building your product, when should you think about raising funds, for example, as a startup, if you want to scale faster, and before thinking about how or when should you raise funds, my question is, um, what will be the better condition for you as a startup before try to think about how to raise funds? Yeah.
Okay, so generally, when we start a startup, um, it depends whether you have the funds or not. I mean, the financial needs and runway is important before taking that decision. Obviously, we say that bootstrapping is the best way right now with the funding winter going on. But at the same time, we have to understand that at different stages of the startup,
Mm,
we can definitely raise funds. So, like initially, when you just start with an idea, you can have angel investors who can help you.
mm,
The amount is very low. They help you so that you can develop a POC and MVP.
mm,
And then you have a seed round and pre-seed round and then series A, B, and C, which
mm,
they will help you to like scale up if your idea and your business model has that potential which the investors see. So, to be honest, there is no stage of development wherein you can start raising funds. It depends on your network also, to be honest. But what the investor and founder both are looking at before they decide to come into a contract is that
mm,
a if the startup has achieved any milestone, because you have to show some kind of milestone or some kind of proof to the investor that this is what we've achieved and so we have this potential. Similarly, if the market conditions, the economic sentiments, and how the money is flowing in, like recession and all that things, play a very important role. Generally, in this scenario, funding doesn't happen, so you have to try to put it bootstrap or try to gain funds from your own network, which can be family, friends, or somebody,
mm.
and um, it's also important to do few things before you start raising funds. So A is you need to have a business plan and a clear product or roadmap as to what you're trying to develop. And you need to have a legal and compliance consideration. Familiarize yourself with the regulatory requirements in case of any with the fundraising and in the product or service domain in which you are. Once you are done with this and once you have some milestone or a market figure to show that you have potential, then you can definitely raise fund irrespective of what stage of your startup and what is the financial stage of the startup.
Okay, okay. But when you are raising funds, for example, so you are going to um, how can I say that, you are going to share the action you have with the investor, right? Or how it's work most of the time.
Sorry, I didn't get this question.
Okay, okay, yeah. I was saying that, for example, as a founder of startup, if you got your idea and you start just you start raising funds, for example. So the investor, when they are coming and to give you their own money because it is investment, what are you going to give to them? Like, is it like the action of your company you are building right now, or what are going most of them? What is the deal between you as a founder and
Okay.
them as investor? Yeah.
So generally, an investor, when pulls in the money, they will take in some equity in return.
Okay.
Um, so what happens is in the next round, when the valuation of the company increases, they will have a 2x or a 3x return from the equity, and they will exit and hand it over to a new investor because
Okay.
different stage of startups have different investors. So
Mm.
that's typically the process. Apart from equity, they might help you connect with a lot of partners
Yes.
because right
Sorry,
now they have.
I will just cut you before. I think people who are watching us. What is equity for people who doesn't really understand. Yeah.
Oh, equity are basically is the shares in your company. So, like if yeah, in percentage form, whatever number of shares you have,
Mm,
1 lakh shares or 36 lakh shares,
yeah.
there is on depending on the amount that the investor is pooling in, they will ask for a percentage of equity.
Okay.
That percentage you can calculate how many number of shares they will take,
Mm,
and then that shares goes to them. And after when the next round will start, the valuation they expect the company to grow in terms of acquisition or revenue, some metrics that would definitely be in the discussion radar, and founder would be aware of which metric to concentrate. And once you show that growth in the next round, you will have a higher valuation. The investor will exit with their return, and a new investor will come, and that's how the
okay.
process goes on.
Okay.
But
So.
if you bootstrap, then you are free from all this. But
Mm,
that's very difficult. Also,
yeah.
needs a
Yeah.
lot of resilience.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, when you are, I can say, if your startup is scaling and growing up, like I can say fast, or it will depend. The old investor are going to out with their what they just invest or they earn, and new investor are going to come, right? Um, by buying the share of the old investor.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, correct, correct. Yes,
Okay. Okay.
that's the how it works.
Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting. And I think I have asked almost every question that I had. So before we just end, um, what advice would you give to people who are really working in the tech in general and who want to build, I don't know, the next liquor, for example? Um, yeah,
Next, like a startup of
yeah,
their own, they want to. Okay, so I think I really feel that tech people have this potential of building products that can just revolutionize.
yeah,
And ChatGPT is the biggest example. It was made by a developer. So I think that the product development and technology is something they can easily take care of. What they might need is marketing and this distribution, the business aspect of it,
mm,
and they can definitely collaborate with a co-founder and easily complement that
okay,
and start a venture of their own. And with especially with the job markets going so low, I think you should have a backup. So there's no harm in investing your free time into something. And
mm,
until unless it grows into something which can be dependable, you can always switch your career or something. But you
okay,
can definitely start small and take small steps, because that's what a startup is. You have to start
mm,
small, and with each step you have to grow big. So yeah, that would be my advice to all the developer friends across
mm.
the world.
Okay, okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, I think we just end, but I just want to thank you for your time, for also accepting to join me during this. For sure, I'm going to invite you again for all that kind of topic because I really like
For
it.
sure.
Yes,
And
and
thank you so much for inviting me, Fabrice. I really enjoyed chatting with you about my favorite topic.
yeah, me too. It was very happy to have you there. Okay, thanks, and say bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.